Hello friends. So today I'm going to be doing a do-it-yourself project. I'm building a little set of stairs for a neighbor, and so I just wanted to go ahead and bring you along and show you what I do, and we'll go from there. Alright. Okay, so I'm going to be cutting some treated 2x6s, and so one of the things I was taught as I was learning to do this kind of stuff, when you make your measurement and make your line and make your cut, you can either like cut on the line or you can leave the line. Now when you cut on the line, you're taking just like a 1/16 off to make sure that things kind of fit in or slip into something. If you're leaving the line, then it's the true measurement. And the guy that taught me when I was doing some interior carpentry, the little lingo we used was like 13 1/4 long or 13 1/4 short. And all that meant was just either take a 1/16 off or leave a 1/16, add a 1/16 on. It was easier than saying, 13 3/16 or whatever. We would just go to the nearest quarter and we just put like an S or an L, long or short, and it just worked out really good for us. So that's just a little tidbit passing on to you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and mark some boards, make some cuts. I'm starting off with 46-inch wide treads. It'll be 2 on the first step, 2 on the second step. This is only a 2-step box that I'm building just to help a neighbor so that they can get out their back door onto a deck. Alright, so I'm do a couple cuts and then we'll move on from there. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but I left the line, so I'm going for a true 46-inch wide tread in this case. Alright, so I will do the rest of my cuts, get all this laid out, and then I'll show you some of my assembly. So while I have the chance, I also wanted to show you another little trick that can help to not bind up your saw when you're making a cut. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to angle the 2x6 so that as I cut, it's dropping away, but like dropping away from the blade instead of just bending or starting to come down. and pinch my saw blade. So by angling it, I don't know, maybe 30 degrees or so, I'm not letting it come against the blade of the saw. So I just thought I'd show you real quick. So turn it on its side here, maybe 30-degree angle, something close to that, and I'll show you here. And so it just lets it drop away a lot cleaner. You might have saw in my first cuts, I didn't do that, and you can hear it in the saw. It starts to bite the blade a little bit and start to bind up. So I just thought I'd show you guys that little trick. Okay, so I've gotten to a point, I've almost got all my pieces cut, but to get the right height that I'm looking for in my stir treads, I've had to add a spacer. So I'm using a little bit of 5/8 CDX plywood, but I've got this primer paint, basically like a reddish, that will match the treated 2x6 lumber. So I just thought I'd take a quick second and just show you that I'm just going to be painting my spacers just to make everything match and hopefully last a little longer as well. Okay, so next, to brace the step box and keep it sturdy and keep things from flexing, what I'm going to do is notch on the bottom of the tread, not the treads, the bottom of the box, and put a 2x4 across the front, and I think I'm going to do one across the back also, but I just want to hold that box together without any movement. So there's two ways to make a notch, so I thought I'd show you that. So one, I've got my 2x6 sitting here on the table. So one is to do a whole bunch of little like cuts and leave little wafers and then break them out, chisel them smooth. So I'll show you that way. The other way is to just cut the box, the little notch out, and then use the chisel in the corner. Personally, when you have full access to the end of a board like I do here, this is the easier one. But if you're ever working in the middle of a board making a notch, the wafer, all the wafer cuts is the way to go. So I just wanted to show you both. So I need to set my depth. When you're cutting wafer cuts, you need to set your depth because I'll be cutting from the top of the board into it, and I need it to stop at my line. So an easy way to do that is lift the guard on your saw, and you can see I'm too tall, so I loosen the adjustment in the back and push my glide down here, and I just let the saw just sit, let the blade just sit on the table, and then I tighten my tensioner back here to lock in that depth. And I think I want to come up just a little bit. Okay, I think that's good. So let me show you that real quick. Okay, so I do need to come back down just a little more with the blade. Alright, right on the line. So I'll quick make some cuts here. Okay, so I just want to show you that just making all these wafers, some come out a little deeper than others. It just, if I'm angling the saw a little bit, but where I started, they are all at the line. So now the trick is to just start hitting them, and you can use the back of the claw. Okay, so you can see, not too bad, a little rough. I will smooth that out with a chisel. Now let me show you the other way, and like I said, because this is an end cut, the other way is a little faster. So I will readjust the depth of the saw. I'll just bottom it out. Okay, so that's one side. Now I turn it over, and as you can see, because the saw blade is round, I don't get to the front corner. But I do have a line, so I will bring those together on this side. Okay, so now each side is cut to the corner. This should just break out. Now I do have just a little bit of material in here where the blade couldn't get, and then that's where I'll use the chisel and just get that out. And just like that, that one's done. So that was a lot easier. So the one with all the wafers, it's going to take a little more work. Okay, so not bad, but the other way is definitely a little easier. All right. Okay, so now that we've got those notched out and I've got them cleaned up, and I also sprayed them with a red primer paint, kind of a rust brown, just trying to seal everything up. And so as you can see, this is going to be the bottom. I've got the board laying in the notch, so I'm going to screw that in and lock that together before I flip it and do the rest. So what I wanted to show you is when you're working with treated lumber, it's best to use I like the Star Drives. These are 3-inch. They have a little twist so they don't back out. These ones don't, but a lot of times they'll have a little groove at the start of the screw, kind of like a drill bit, so that you're drilling out the wood as you screw in and not just splitting the board. So I will be pre-drilling these, and these like outside deck type screws, they have a coating. The treatment, I don't know if it's truly an acid, but the treatment in treated lumber will eat eventually the screws. So it's best to use a coated screw. The other little thing that these have, they have a little groove on the bottom side of the head, so once you drive it in, it helps lock it to keep it from, when you're walking around on stuff, from twisting back out. So I'm going to use these, especially in the wetter bottom areas. I don't have enough of them today, so I will be switching to basically a regular Phillips screw. But I just wanted to show you the benefits of using like an outdoor deck screw. Now, as you may hear, this is a DeWalt screw gun. It is a Torx, so it has that ratcheting effect, which is just real handy when driving screws. A regular screw, like a drill, will work, but this just helps drive things in when you're trying to get things tight. Okay, so with that, I'm going to flip this over, do a little bit more assembly, and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so I've got the bottom bracing on. So I'm going to put the front bottom two treads on, and then I'll show you for the next step up. I've got some of the primered CDX plywood that I will be putting on the inside to lock the next 2x6 for the step up, that block, and then be putting the treads on that. So, let's see. And an easy way to cheat is I have an oversized, this is a 12-inch speed square. So I'm just going to line that up in pretty close to the middle of the 2x6 on the bottom, and I'm just going to make a light line. You want to go real light so it'll fade away later. A lot of lines, like when you're making a cut line or something, you can make it dark, but when you're doing more fine work or cabinetry or something like that, you want really light. So I just want real light. just so it'll fade away, not be very noticeable. And then not just when I'm drilling and putting my screws in, I'm not guessing to hit the 2x6 underneath. Now I could, if I want to be real particular, I could measure out and place my screws so that everything's symmetrical. I'm not going to get too carried away, but I do want it to look nice when I'm done. So I'm going to put the middle screw in on that side. I'm going to come over here, put the middle screw in here. I don't want things to shift too much on me. Alright, and then just finish screwing it in. Okay, so I'm going to stop there and screw a few more in, and then I'll show you the next step. Okay, so here I'm now at the second step of my box here, and I've got the front all screwed down. So in the back, I had to add a spacer. So this is a 5/8 piece of CDX, so that I get the right height when I come up and hit their back door. I wanted it to match and then start to step down to the deck. On the inside here, another piece of this one's 3/4 CDX, and I put 3 screws on the inside, and then that's going to let me, when I put my next block on here for the next riser, to attach that and just keep everything real sturdy. So that done. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and attach these with 1 5/8 screws, and then I'll be ready for the top tread. Okay, so that locks everything in good and tight. And now I can get ready for the top treads. Okay, so I've got the top treads sitting up on here. And because I didn't want to do a center support on these steps, I have brought these in 8 inches so that I'm supporting if someone steps on the edge, and I've got plenty of support in the center. Shouldn't have any problems. So I'll go ahead and get these screwed down. Once again, just a real light pencil mark, just so it will fade away. And down the center of my 2x6. And then pre-drilled, just don't want to split anything. And then, once again, put the center screw in, just so if there's any pivoting, anything that needs to be done, but I don't want everything to shift on me. Okay, so I will go ahead and finish screwing this down, and that's going to complete the project. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, or leave me a comment. Thank you very much. Have a great day.